Time to start rampage through this Cathedral of the Deep. But why would it's Cathedral of the Deep? I can understand why it's Cathedral, as in this has very much the visual style of European style cathedrals, big churches. If I remember right, actually the precise definition of cathedral is a bit vague. You could just say it's a big church. Well, this is exactly that. Impressive architecture and graveyard with dead rising from the earth, and not even from the graves but even from the bloody paths. Well, that might explain why the path is just so broken. And they don't look too happy or dangerous. And there's some sort of moat with ugly monstrosities in there, and those things around here are actually quite dangerous in a sense, as they can infect you with bug-like things. And like this one over here is one of those dangerous types, and dropping down means death. Painful one. By sudden stop. Even though the Ashen one is technically quite immortal. Come on, are you attacking? Oh, apparently those dudes are dangerous to these shambling undead as well. Well, they are quite much the typical type of enemies of Dark Souls 3, which is to say, quite frail, as in just not actually in a sense that they would be very easily killed frail, but frail in the sense that they do damage much better than they take it, which is quite unpleasant way of doing things. And how in hell do those crossbow portals actually turn in the air? But the basic enemies in this place are just these shambling zombie-like undead, although you really can't say they're shambling or zombie-like, as they know how to fight, use magic, bows and all that. They are not particularly smart, but you can't say them to be extremely stupid either. Which is a bad thing for you, that they are not completely stupid. As in stupid in the sense they would run off pits to their doom. And there's a dangly dude with a big sword. Those dudes also love to be ambushing you. And as they just sit there very silent, calm and not particularly moving, it's easy to not notice they are there, and then they get a drop on you. Well, luckily these flaming crossbows things are actually quite conspicuous, and now as in that flame is quite easily seen. But yeah, this is perhaps you could say this is the basic, the main church or temple or place of worship for you could say the only remaining somehow organized religion of Dark Souls 3. There isn't much. Religion is not so much. Is not thing much observed in Dark Souls. There's mention of that it is, and that's it. Come on, guy, I wanna piss you off. Oh, the one thing different to Dark Souls 1 and 2 is the fact that instead of carrying all whatever objects you might have, like fire bombs or throwing knives and stuff, you actually can carry only a limited amount of them, and if you get more than the amount you actually carry, it goes to a storage. And same applies to arrows, meaning you can only actually carry 99 different type of arrows instead of almost 999 arrows, which makes use of arrows as your main form of attack quite ineffective. They can be very useful as a means to weaken enemies and of course aggroing them from distance, so you can actually kite them in, like that one over there. What the? Come on, buddy! Shit, that guy, Grey Warden, with those scimitars, is fast and also very hostile. Well, that's because, well, everything in this game is hostile. It either is always that, becomes that, or you have a chance for it to become it. Or you can be mindlessly hostile to whatever. The basic idea in Dark Souls is still the fact that be calm, progress with care. And those guys are just old-fashioned suicide bombers. Let them do their job and limroom a couple of idiots from the world, and while they're at it, they eat their souls. And there's big... oh shit. Big. Under attack again. That instead of, well, it's not opening the doors right away. I'm just gonna hey, look at that, there's Kamikaze again. And a guy with a bloody huge axe. And that axe, of course, is as painful as it looks like. But luckily, he didn't wear any armor, so he was just as squishy as he appeared to be. I guess that's fair deal. Oh yeah, they carry pyromantic length of Kamikaze units, and they can't run really long. But they do explode, and explosions hurt. Well, you could say that everything in Dark Souls either hurts, or actually yes, everything in Dark Souls hurts. But these are the big doors. Now why did they leave them so that you could even open these big doors? And there's a big guy. Oh yeah, that thing is called Slave Giant. And I think he earns both of those titles quite well. And slime monsters, coming back from Dark Souls 1 if I remember right, just as annoying and insanely durable as they used to be. sorry, priest, you're dead. You too. Oh, I don't care what kind of fancy robes you are wearing, but you are quite immensely hostile to me. And while you're at it, I'm gonna break down these fancy, interesting floating books. Oh yeah, there's no other way forward. And interestingly, once you become hollow enough, which is to say die enough many times while you have the dark skill, you don't have any shadow left. Yes, the undead has literally become quite so hollow that he doesn't even have shadow anymore. But time to use this lift to go down to this place. And there's one more message. Time to open this door, which leads to this place. Nothing too particularly weird or uninteresting. Time to open these big doors. And notice that, yeah, we managed to actually open a bit of a shortcut to get further. This is actually a very good thing about Dark Souls 3, is that there are lots of these shortcuts, meaning you can then navigate much easier to places. Well, I'll be resting and going somewhere else. Painted World of Ariandale. Like the, you could say, mandatory ice level of Dark Souls 3. Or would say, in every Dark Souls there has been ice world, and it's never and although you could say that there is some sort of recurring theme of cold, ice and winter in Dark Souls 3 of Boreal Valley, which is a reference to North, and of course Frostbitten status effect. But generally Dark Souls games are not those of ice, cold and wintry. The Dark Souls are much more games of burning fire, hot and other things of less cold structure. But in every one Dark Souls game, 1 through and 3, and also 3 as well, there are cold places, but they're usually not. They're either out of the way, or they are DLC. This Painted World of Ariandale is a DLC, while the Painted World of Ariandale of Dark Souls 1. You can say that this one borrows quite lots of it. That was not a DLC, but it was a very hidden zone, and I actually just ran off from those enemy wolves, mostly because, well, they are dangerous, and this place is designed so that you are much higher level with much more powerful weapons than you have at your disposal right now. But that looks quite familiar in a sense. A rope bridge which leads to some kind of chapel or fortress. The Painted World of Ariandale starts with a very similar style, but the rope bridge is not intact. And look at that, that's just beautiful settings. Most of From Software are really good understanding about appearances. And birdmen. I have no idea why the birdmen are here. Maybe they are some sort of native creatures of this painting, and then they become in the real world or something like that. But he looks quite dour. Trying to get the hollow gem. Let's have a chat with this grim guy.
Well, well. You're Lady Uria's Lord of Hollows.
Yep.
No bell tolls. And yet, you've slipped into the painting. Oh, no matter. If you've lost your way, the words of Lady Frida will guide you. Now, go on inside, show respect, and listen carefully.
Well, that's good.
What's keeping you? Go on. Right inside. Show
All right.
respect.
Well, that's actually quite good. But a bit blunt, but to the point. So it's time to get to this chapel or cathedral or church or temple sanctuary, I could say it. Doorways. And generally nice looking place. Paintings. Let's try to look at them with my fire. They're a bit worn, but generally you could say that they are nice looking. And there's some sort of statue and a lady. Let's have a chat with her.
Welcome to the painted world of Ariandel. I am Frida. I have long stood beside our blessed Father and the rest of the forlorn. But forlorn thou seemeth not,
Yeah.
Lord of Hollows. I know not the missteps which led thee to this painted world, but thy duty is all, and thy duty lieth elsewhere. Return from whence thou camest. I presume it visible to thee? The bonfire here in this room. A meek and faded thing, but 'twill guide thee nonetheless.
Oh, well.
Ah yes, there is a thing thou shouldst by rights possess. A remembrance of this cold world for the great Lord of Londor. May it help thee bear thy duty. Now, return from whence thou camest. Thou'st a place in that world, and that alone is cause to rejoice.
That is actually...
Now, thou'st a
She actually speaks very wisely and calmly and gently. So it's time to actually follow her advice and go elsewhere, do these other places. Oh, seeing the old wolf of Pharaon. The very not too happy looking lupine personality. Not vulpine, lupine. Vulpine would be something like a fox, like that's not a fox. Foxes have nothing to do with Dark Souls. They are cats, but no foxes. Wolves, yes, but no foxes. And there lies something called, well, it looks old. And it's not taking much damage from arrows. And it's not too friendly either. But luckily it's over quite stupid. Jeez, that... It has the demon-like appearance, but it's like petrified. Become just a walking boulder collection of boulders. That's a walking fossil. And that hammer hits as hard as you think it does hit. Which is a very... But luckily you can just... Luckily it's stupid, so you can just use these stairs to stay safe. And he flips rocks and reaches that piece of petrified wood or whatever that is around. And he's got a bit of a wonky hitbox. Come on, keep waving that thing around as much as you want. It was called Stray Demon and it had a big special soul. That's actually time to go and check this place. High wall and some weaponry and tools, embers. And interestingly, that over there looks a bit like undead settlement or whatever that undead settlement. Yeah. So this bridge is between or this structure is between Lothric and undead settlement, meaning that thing was some kind of gatekeeper or guardian preventing unwanted entry to Lothric. Or was it castle or Lothric city or whatever castle it is, mostly because it is a castle. And this wall has through age become quite worn down. Oh damn, it got away. But luckily they do reappear if you would just bother to settle. And I guess you managed to sneak in here before the wall collapsed or it was broken down. I don't know. And of course the walls had also been, the gates had also been closed, so this is a quite strong indication that within Lothric they didn't want anybody to arrive here. Mostly because gates closed and there's no way to open it from any side. So there is no oh yeah, there, yes indeed, that interesting form of geometry in geology in this, or is it geometry? Geology in, or map making or whatever, make it so that where the undead settlement is in comparison to Lothric itself. Which is to say not too far, but actually knowing that the distance, obstacles and that it's actually a very long way. Well, this is just a big dead end or bonus place. Time to now go and explore this place. I better say not explore this place, get further and try to go and face something unpleasant. Come on, come on. Yes, I am such a scrub that I do summon aid to me, but I also salute those I summon. Doing so is just polite. And if you have a chance of being nice or not nice, and they both result to the same, I suggest that you are nice. However, if you have an option of doing things nice, rudely, or well, whatever. Good manners are something that you can't lose having them. But time to push these big doors open. There are lots of big doors in this game. And admire this bleak land. With a cutscene. There are dead folks and blood and a couple of knight-like things fighting. They are of the Undead Legion. And they kill each other. And they carry swords and daggers and wear that kind of armor, which actually makes it impossible to say what is behind it. Is it man or a woman? Hard to say. But it's got a pointy hat. Or what I say, pointy hat with a metal in it. And it salutes me. Abyss Watchers, first Lord of Cinder, or Lords of Cinder. Whoops! And I'm doing such a good old-fashioned double team method of trying to aggro one. And while that is while I managed to aggro him, I try to then get the assistant to, or aid, or henchman, goon, to attack it. And most of them, and some of those which wake up have red eyes. And they actually are hostile to each other. Which means you can actually use the enemy infighting for your benefit. In earlier Dark Souls games that was quite much impossible. Enemy infighting was nothing. There was no enemy infighting. But for Abyss Watchers, a legion of them has been defeated. And there's lots of dead bodies of the Abyss Watchers themselves. Perhaps they fell in the infighting, but their essence, their strength, their courage, their will, which they showed as group, is now gathering to a one-member body of their own, giving it a new purpose in existence. Lord of Cinder awakes. Abyss Watchers are one. Oh, look at that. Dark Souls 3. Multiple phases in a boss fight. First you fight with a big horde and then you fight against one guy. Who is fast like hell, with fire. But luckily I am not fighting alone against him. Right, defeating the Abyss Witcher's first Lord of Cinder has fallen. And of course I wave goodbye to the one I fought with. Now in Firelink Shrine, time to return the Abyss Watchers to their throne. Put some pointy helmets, and that's it. That's how they are returning, as something of their token, which represents them, not what they are. No. After the Abyss Watchers, they, however, guarded a place, and there's an altar. Very sinister, but I don't know what would open it. Actually, not sinister, just a dreary. And almost like in every other Dark Souls game, there's a crypt. Actually, yes, in Dark Souls 1 there was these big crypts. And in Dark Souls 2 there were these, well, undead crypt. And Dark Souls 3 also has a crypt. Catacombs of Castles, which means there's lots of skeleton undead in here. And of course, being a crypt means this place is also one of the most visually uninteresting and dreariest places of the entire game. It's just a place that you just want to run through as fast and as brutally possible. And Cathedral of the Deep. Well, whatever. They're big church place. And the giant doesn't seem to want to get you or you go anywhere. But yeah, he keeps slapping and stomping around. But luckily he's more than just a little bit stupid, and you can just easily bait him up and hammer him full of arrows. And he doesn't respond, so it's actually worthwhile. And if you hit it to the head, he gets extra damage. I'd say something like a triple damage. Double at least. About triple. Yep. Well, that makes moving around in this place a bit easier. Now, going to this very huge and implausibly huge catacombs. There is a way to use that big bridge over there and just try to battle your way through all the undead monstrosity skeleton horrors, or you can just think a bit outside the box and just drop through here. Yeah, that is actually quite, in a sense, quite amusing shortcut the boys in From left to this place. I don't know why they did it, but it is. Oh, and this boulder just crushed a couple of things. And it also goes up. Oh yeah, that skeleton boulder actually knows how to move itself. But it crushed it itself. And I got some bone shards. So catacombs of course are just filled with these skeletons. If they have wide eyes, you can beat them down. but they do get up. So you have to beat them down again. And some of them throw those dark things spewing whatever, dark bombs or however you want to call them around. They are more of a hassle than a danger, but hassle is a hassle, and in this game hassle will cause you trouble. Lots of trouble very quickly if you don't keep your head up about them. And some pottery. And some of them do have these dark things in them to attack you as you crash through them. And there was a trap. And those traps are luckily not hostile only to you. They also work against enemies. Like this. Hello, bastard! Yep, that skeleton monstrosity went down, and I used the trap, shooting fireballs, fire arrows, to my benefit. And one more skeleton buddies. Those skeletons are just archetypical. It's simply impossible to imagine a dark fantasy game without some sort of, or even any fantasy role-playing, whatever game, which wouldn't have the skeletons as some sort of, animated skeletons as some sort of enemy. Now I try to kite or whatever. That ugly thing. It's got red eyes, it's hostile, but luckily it doesn't have white eyes, which means kill it twice. Come here. It's got a curved sword, and shield, and unlike most enemies, that shield doesn't block 100% of physical damage, but still it's efficient enough to be annoying and dangerous. Oh damn. Should have been a bit more careful, but backstab always steals things. I don't know how stabbing through a lower back of a skeleton wearing a few smelly rags could work, as in cause damage to it. And of course you don't want to run towards that shiny, because there's a hole in a wall leading downstairs. And it's just embers. Embers are easy to gain. And that's a sinister sound. And look at that, the bone boulder, or however you want to call them, just waltzing around like nobody's business. And there's a bonfire. And this is actually a quite handy place also to do some sort of walking around and wandering else.